Welcome back to Red and Blue. We're learning more about fundraising numbers for 2024 candidates. Never too early. CBS News reporter Sarah Ewall-Wice joins us now. Okay, so we got these new FEC filings, and this always gives us a good indication of where these campaigns are going. And I know it's very early, but we got a lot of information from some of these. And I'm really kind of want to start with Nikki Haley because she made huge headlines for raising $11 million in that first quarter, which surprised a lot of people. But you have been digging into the numbers, and you found that it's not exactly how it appears. What happened there?
No. So her campaign put out an announcement that they'd raised $11 million since she launched, which is a great number, especially for a candidate who has been polling in the single digits, low single digits at that. So it was a really good sign. But then we got the FEC filings over the weekend, and it looks like they had doubled up some numbers. So essentially, she has a presidential campaign committee that takes in cash. She also has a joint fundraising committee that takes in cash. And then she has a leadership committee. All these different entities taking in cash. The thing is they actually also are transferring money between each other. So there was some overlapping numbers where they were double counting certain transfers into that presidential campaign committee, which made it look like a lot larger a number than it was. What she really did raise was about $8.3 million, which is still a really good number, exactly, for a candidate who's been polling where she is. And, you know, she has about $7.8 million cash on hand. So that is a strong number moving forward. Essentially, they just cooked the books a little bit in this first announcement, but still good fundraising.
And that's why we're glad that you dig into the numbers for us to kind of find all those nuances. But I mean, I think that's the challenge, right, for these candidates, as you mentioned, is trying to compete in this donor space when you have Donald Trump, who has been trying to raise money off this indictment. Has he been successful? What do his numbers look like?
It is interesting because the fundraising FEC filings we have are from January through March. He was indicted in early April. With that said, though, what we know from the FEC filings specifically is his presidential campaign took in $14.4 million in the first quarter of the year. For someone of his stature, that's really not as much as maybe you would perhaps expect, and well below what he'd been fundraising when he was the president, as a former president, not as strong. With that said, though, his campaign did announce that in the 24 hours after his indictment, he raised $4 million. Since then, it's gotten even higher. And so when you add all the numbers together, it's a lot larger a sum. They really had a lot of the fundraising come in around that indictment in early April, but that's not reflected in these figures right now. What we know is he has $13.9 million cash on hand, according to the FEC filings at the end of March, but that could be more than 10 million greater because of the indictment fundraising that he did and all those fundraising emails that all of our inboxes were swarmed with.
Yes, I was going to say we've both gotten a lot of those. I mean, I'm fascinating to kind of see where the money goes here, and that will give us an indication of how people are feeling about this field of candidates and whether there are some vulnerabilities for Donald Trump. Obviously, the presidential race will consume much of 2024, but we've got some Senate candidates. I know you've been looking into that Arizona race, which everybody's going to be following. Ruben Gallego seemed to have a successful first quarter.
Yes, this is really interesting to me because it's a battleground race for the general election, but there's also this basically in-party fighting right now because Kyrsten Sinema, Senator Sinema, became an independent. And so now she's being challenged from the left. And her challenger, he raised $3.7 million in this quarter. That's more than what she raised, which was $2.1 million. And his campaign sent out a memo, and it says that 99% of his donations were small dollar donations, less than $200, versus Kyrsten Sinema, Senator Sinema's donations were about 1%, less than 1% of them were small dollar donations.
So that shows some grassroots support for his candidacy.
Exactly. Yeah. Grassroots support right now and a long way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. That will be a fascinating race to watch if those two go against each other. Sarah, good to see you. Thank you so much.